Hi guys, welcome to Honey Art Cafe. My name is Lulu and I'm going to be doing a demo of some Inktober drawings based off of the theme Sweets. So today I'm going to be using a couple of the different tools in the Prismacolor hand lettering beginner set. We are giving out these sets along with this really cool sketchbook every single week. I'm gonna let a couple of people just join in real quick and then we'll get started in a few minutes. This is some of the stuff from the previous week. So we did like a hand lettering workshop and you can go ahead and look on our channel to see that. So I'll be using my pencil and then I'll be demonstrating some of these other types of tools in here. There's a chisel tip, a brush pen, a fine liner, and then a really thick marker in here. And again, if you are following us on Instagram or Facebook, you can participate in the weekly giveaway sponsored by Texas Art Supply. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first doodle that I'm gonna do is gonna be a cupcake. So I'm gonna start off with this capital D shape turned on its side. And then I'm gonna draw two angled lines slightly inset of the base of that. Okay, and then a straight horizontal line below that. We're gonna draw a oval up top, and this is gonna be the frosting bundle, as well as a cherry. Okay, so from there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make some swirls for my frosting. So these are just curves going in the same direction. And I'm gonna draw a little bit of fudge on the top here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn these straight lines into slight curves, slight U-shaped curves, and I'm going to curve the bottom of this ever so slightly as well. Okay, so I have my main doodle object in the middle here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a couple of smaller sweets around that. So it's Halloween, I wanna go ahead and draw some candy. So I'm just gonna draw an oval with some triangles on either side. I'm gonna add some filler items as well.
Amy's making sure that you like put the link on the website for the club. She doesn't. You want her to do it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and let us know in the comments if you have any suggestions for things that you want to see, by the way. Okay. I'm actually gonna move this and have a slightly different shaped object down here. So right now what I'm drawing is a circle for what's gonna be a candy apple. So at the base, I'm gonna have a little bit of the drip of the candy apple. And then at the very top, I have a big stick coming out of that. And we can go ahead and make all of this Halloween themed. By just adding these cute, spooky faces. Okay, so far I have one big item in the middle of my page, and that's gonna be my cupcake. And then I have a candy apple, a wrapped piece of candy, and then a lollipop right here. You don't have to have everything be a candy. You can have some of these objects be just like small doodly symbols in between. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and draw another pastry on this top corner, and I'm gonna go ahead and do an eclair. So an eclair is basically just an oval. And there's a little bit of chocolate on there, and that's gonna be a wavy line. We're gonna have some curves underneath. For the filling, and then one last curve. And that's gonna be the base of the eclair. Okay, I'm going to draw some squiggly lines for a leaf since it's fall. And then I need one more filler item right here, so I'm probably going to do another symbol. Okay, and it's going to be a fork. So usually what I like to do next is I like to use my brush pen to do most of the outlining and then kind of fill in here and there with some of the other pens. So I am trying to apply different pressures so that I can get different interesting lines. What you can see here is that sometimes you'll have some thin lines and sometimes some thick lines, and that diversity in the line thickness is what makes your doodle look really interesting. Okay, next I'm gonna go ahead and rotate this so that I'm inking very comfortably. And if you're joining us in the middle of our live stream, you can always wait until after we're done with the live stream to watch from the very beginning. Okay, so I always try to get my main character inked first, just so that I can get like a good outlook on what I should and shouldn't adjust. And then next, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and ink the secondary items, so the second biggest items next. So again, to get a good perspective of what does and doesn't need to be changed for the sake of composition. What I always tell my students is you don't want to be afraid of deviating from your sketch just a little bit. Whenever you deviate, it's usually because you want it to look a little bit better. So I do often adjust it a little bit as I'm inking. The thing to keep in mind though is that if you're going against what you've already penciled out, it may come out inaccurate. And you have to just kind of be prepared for that outcome. It's okay to make mistakes. They're just kind of learning experiences, right? Okay, so this is the beginnings of our first doodle page. I am going to go ahead and erase some of this background sketch marks. We really like to use white erasers for erasing, but the hand lettering set actually comes with a really fun kneaded eraser. If you've never worked with kneaded erasers before, they are super duper great, especially for pastel drawing or charcoal. So when you unpackage it, it looks like this. You can kind of pull it apart. So when it gets really dirty, you just pull it apart, fold it over, and then that will just kind of magically get rid of all of your graphite. I feel like the one downside of this though is it doesn't erase as intensely as a hard eraser does. So sometimes when you have that really hard to remove pencil mark, it's still really nice to have a hard, solid eraser on hand. Okay, so we've gotten the basics of our page done already. I'm going to go ahead and use my fine liner next. So I'll demonstrate that in the inside of the lollipop. Okay, so there we go. If you're not feeling super confident about doing thin lines, the fine liner here is like a really, really great way to add those details in. I think that the next thing that I want to do is kind of see if I need to fill in any areas. So like here, it's looking a little bit empty. I'm going to go ahead and create like a little symbol right here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of texture. So you kind of saw here, I had started to add a little bit of texture. I want to go ahead and do that for my other objects as well. Okay, and then last but not least, you want to decide if there's any places that you want to fill in. So an example of that would be if I wanted my covering over here, this drip, to be something that's really dark. So for example, chocolate. If I want to fill in a really dark area, I'll go ahead and use my big marker to save a little bit of time. The great thing about this is that not only can you turn it and use the flat part so you can cover more area, but also because it is a hard tip, you get a lot more control than you would normally with the brush tip. So if you're not feeling super confident initially with the brush tip, you can go ahead and start off with this hard tip or the chisel tip. And it's really, really easy to use. Okay, so we got this guy all filled in. Definitely we want to add some texture on the cherry right there. And then this will be really fun to color in later. Okay, so we have this one page done, and then we'll do a second page. And I'm gonna go ahead and make my second page a macaroon page. What you can see from this sketchbook is it has fairly thick paper. You didn't see any bleed through except like a tiny, tiny bit from the very large marker. So, you just want to keep that in mind. This is a really great sketchbook for that. And again, we're doing weekly giveaways. I'm going to go ahead and grab a reference really quick for our next part. If you guys are catching up still, I'll leave this page open for you. And again, this sketchbook is really cool because it has a lot of features. It has the band to keep your booklet closed and intact. And then it also has this bookmark page. And I always really value the bookmark pages so that I can do a quick flip through and get to the page that I need to get to very quickly. Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to have my photo references up top here. And these are photos of some of the character macaroons that we're selling right now. And I'm going to incorporate all of these into my next doodle page. So I'm going to have a total of 4 macaroons that I'm going to be sketching out. And the thing here is that I don't want it to be super duper symmetrical, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna have one there, and then one over here, slightly turned on its side. So I'm starting off with a couple of circles and ovals, and I'm going to just go ahead and start to sketch in the details I'm gonna have my most prominent one be this one. And I think that since it is October themed, I want my main two featured macaroons, so these are going to be like the most visible ones, to be Jack Skellington and the Black Cat. So I'm going to have the cat right here. And then Jack Skellington over here. So I'm going to have him turned, draw the ovals for his eyes first. The nose is going to be right at the bottom of the eyes. And then the smile right here. Okay, we're gonna draw a little bit of a squiggly line for to show off the edge of the macaroon, and then the buttercream underneath that, and then the shell underneath that. Okay, this one is gonna be mostly on the side. So we're gonna let all of this be the buttercream, this really dark part right here. And then we're gonna have the bottom shell, and I'm gonna make this one the owl. So in the middle of this oval, I'm going to draw a curve and then have a V shape. So that's gonna be the beak. And then I'm gonna have the eyes, and then the V shape for the top of the head. Okay, and then last but not least, I have my froggy. So I'm gonna have this be the two eyes. And this is an angry froggy with heart-shaped blush. Okay, I'm gonna have a couple of squiggly lines for the edge of the macaroon. Again, the buttercream, and then the last layer. And then we're gonna fill in the gaps with some star shapes. We're gonna add some hearts, some sprinkle shapes, and I'm gonna draw a leaf right here. Normally I would have more symbols, but there's not too much space on this page. So again, I'm going to be primarily using my brush pen for this. And we're gonna go pretty quickly just from the top left-hand corner because I'm right-handed, and then kind of work our way down. Okay, and then if you want to do something extra cute for the eyes, I often like to have um, my angry eyes have like multiple lines. It's kind of like an anime thing. Okay, and then next we have the cat. I had initially sketched it out really close to this macaroon, so I'm gonna go ahead and push it over just ever so slightly. I always want to have a little bit of extra space for the eyes, so just kind of keep that in mind that when you're trying to fill things in, I'm trying to fill this in all black, um, you want to just leave a little bit of extra space for the eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how to fill it completely in with just the brush tip. So I'm just keeping it close to parallel with the page. Okay, so this one's done, and then lastly, we're gonna have our owl. Okay, so we have a couple of different macaroons, and then we have some big stars filling the gaps in. So I'm gonna have another star here. And then maybe a flower here. Okay, so then this is our last page. If you want to keep your page a little bit more balanced, by the way, in terms of how there's like a lot more darkness down here, what you can do is you can go ahead and fill in one of the stars over here. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start to pat down some of the pencil marks. Okay, perfect. So this was our Sweets creative doodling workshop. Again, thank you for Texas Art Texas Art Supply for providing the supplies for our weekly giveaway. It's a really, really awesome sketchbook and also ink set so that you can have all the supplies you could ever need for Inktober, just to explore, experiment, and have fun. We'll see you next week for both our giveaway and our free art workshop. Bye, guys.